Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of Meeting the Moment, Embracing and Navigating Pivots, Part 2. Today, I am joined by a phenomenal person, Jennifer Malhotra. She's a growth and strategy advisor who drives market shaping outcomes by aligning strategy, partnerships, and go to market execution. Jennifer's also a certified life coach who partners with women business leaders, particularly mothers navigating career transitions, where she delivers faith based performance coaching. She's coming to us from Florida, but she's a proud Brazilian wife, a devoted mother to 15-year-old twins, a nonprofit board member, and a champion of women's empowerment on a global scale. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's such a joy to be here with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm excited to talk to you today. You got your ocean color shirt on, and
bringing you all the Florida vibes.
Yeah, we need some sun here in Virginia today. It's very cloudy, but we're going to get through it. So let's jump right in.
Do it.
You spent years building growth engines inside corporate, and last month you stepped out on your own to build as a fractional growth and strategy advisor. What made this the right moment to pivot? And what's the piece of corporate playbook you're deliberately throwing in the trash?
Love it. I'll actually turn that question of what I'm throwing in the trash of what I'm taking on. What I'm taking on is grace. I think oftentimes in corporate America, especially for us middle-aged women, it can be very hard to give ourselves grace when we are in job transition. Our market does not support it. Our market is performance driven all the time, as fast as possible, as better as possible, one move to the next. And I made the transition. It was not something I woke up in 2026 deciding I'm going to go out and do this. I knew a change might be coming. My company, there was an exit, was acquired, and there was an exit transaction. And I started the interview cycles with many different companies. And I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from this to that. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to go find a new home and do it all over again. And after multiple conversations with some amazing organizations and leaders, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to write the script a little differently. And instead, I'm going to do it on my terms, and I'm going to do it where I can do it from a fractional capacity, which allows me to pour into organizations that matter to me, that I believe I can have a deep impact, but still affords me and accords me the ability to be the vibrant and present mom I want to be. And I use that word vibrant because what can happen in the workplace is it takes the best of us and our family gets the 10% of us. And I wanted to flip that script. So instead of what I'm leaving behind, what I'm taking on is grace. And what I'm taking on is grace to myself, because we always give it to our teams, right? We want our teams to feel that. We want our teams to feel all of that. But it's very rare as leaders, we take a moment to give ourselves that grace. And that's what I'm taking on in 2026.
I love that. And that's a great segue to my next question. Fractional work. And a lot of people are like, oh, what's fractional work? Consulting. Yeah. Okay. Consulting for yourself, I should say.
Right.
Fractional work lives or dies on trust. Clients are handing you the keys to their growth strategy without the runway of a full-time hire to earn it. Mm-hmm. How will you establish trust quickly with founders and leadership teams? And what does it take to rebuild trust in yourself when you step away from the titles and the infrastructure that used to define you?
Yeah, this is something near and dear to my heart because I think it requires compassion. Compassion for where the founder is in their journey and their roadmap to success. And it depends on the organization. If it's a technology organization, founders are typically looking for an exit. If it's something, familiar in the background where I was before, a system integrator to a product company, they're typically looking to grow and scale and exit. One of the entities that I'm consulting with now that I absolutely love is in the wellness space for workplace well-being and to prevent burnout. And so I absolutely love this founder. I love the mission. I incredibly support it. It's called 5 to Flow, and they're doing something incredible with AI and really changing the way the workplace works. And so establishing trust a lot comes with the relationship investments you've made over time. So I was introduced to this founder by a beloved dear friend of mine in industry who said, I know exactly who you need to speak because she needs you. And that connection led to months and months of conversing of just like, where could I lend some expertise, but not necessarily thinking it was going to be in a fractional capacity. And after lots of conversations and my continued what I was interviewing in other roles, decided, let's try this and let's see how we can make it work. And that takes a lot of ideating, going from being a corporate, not even like to say soldier, but just a good corporate leader. You do what you do, you keep growing in an organization, you get the promotion, the next step. Going out on your own can feel very intimidating, especially as a 50-year-old woman, like, whoa, not the right time. And I flipped the switch to go, why not now? My kids are 3 years away from going to college. Who's to say the best is behind me? The best is ahead of me. And what I need to do is take everything from behind me that I've grown and experienced and seen, all of that experience, and package it up where I can help that founder that is lean and mean and only has, 2 handfuls of people and huge ambition and drive. And where can I bring some reality checks and grow in a safe, realistic way, but explode as well. So.
That's awesome. Now, you describe yourself as a relationship architect, and your coaching work centers women leaders, as I said, particularly working mothers in transition.
Right.
How have relationships carried you through your own pivot? And what have you learned about which relationships deepen when you leave the corporate environment?
So good. So good. I strongly believe that the currency in relationship development is your continued desire, your relentless ability to be generous in your investment. When you invest in helping someone else and you have nothing to gain from it, I am a very big fan of parking time on someone's calendar, have someone park time on my calendar for a virtual cup of coffee, just to get to know them. And throughout their career journey, even if they don't work directly with me or in my business unit, how can we stay in touch? I would often meet with people quarterly in my last role. They did not report to me. We were members of the same organization, but they admired what I did. And they just said, hey, Jen, can I have some time with you every quarter? I'm like, absolutely. So I like to call it having your own personal board of directors. Who is it in your life that cares for you enough that's going to say, Kirsten, you're off the rails on that idea. Like, that is not going to get you where you want to go. I love you, girl, but it's just not going to get the results you're thinking. Or someone who's brave enough to go, you need to tell your story. That's got value. Because a lot of times we think as women too, not to say men don't think this, but a lot of times women think, I'm not going to share that. That's too vulnerable. That's hard. And especially in the workplace, we get buttoned up, right? We don't share because we're not going to talk politics and faith. We're going to just keep it all like we're running everything great. I've got dinner for my kids every night and I'm a great wife and all these kind of things, when really you actually have more power when you're able to be vulnerable and go, no, things are hard. Things are hard. And they're hard in this area and in that area. And everything I'm doing is trying to keep the balls in the air, but just not drop that special crystal one. And can I learn from what you're doing? And so I think there's nothing better than just asking for someone's time. Who doesn't have 20 minutes to share? 20 minutes, even if you have to schedule it on some big executive VP's calendar way far out.
Whoa.
You'd be surprised how many people absolutely will go, I would love to pour into you. And that investment that you make in someone, you may never yield the results right now in your current organization. You may not find out, wow, you were really meaningful, impactful for them. But that's not the point. The point is that you pour the investment, it will come back to you. Since leaving my last organization, I've had multiple people reach out to me going, you have no idea how much that meant to me. And that gave me the courage to do this or that, or you helped inspire me to do this. And it's not that I'm anything special. It's that I made the time for them. It's that I made the time to say, how can my learned experiences be shared with you to help you? Whether it's on a project you're on, whether it's on a lot of people have passion projects outside of their day-to-day work. How are you pursuing that? How are you making the time for service? How are you growing in your own skill set? Nowadays, in the world that we're in with AI, you've got to be a master at making time for that. You can't just rely on your organization to post some professional development, and that's enough for you. And so that might look different for different people. I would always like to say to folks, share how you're learning. Is it that morning, time on Thursdays and Fridays that's just meant for you to listen to podcasts and then share them? I used to always say we should have a running Rolodex, so to speak, of books and podcasts and things that are inspiring you, because that's how we learn more, is when we share.
I love that. And another great segue. I'm glad you brought up AI, because you're building AI-enabled sales processes and data-driven decision models for your clients in a moment when a lot of leaders are outsourcing judgment to the tools. They're just saying, here's a tool will do it. How do you hold yourself and your clients accountable to commercial discipline and long-term value when the technology makes it easy to move fast and forego strategy?
I think we have to keep the human in technology. I think you have to keep the human component. What I shared before about the learning aspect, I think you have to, when you're introducing new motions of how to run sales plays or how to run operational efficiencies, you have to poll your people. And I'm not talking employment surveys. I'm talking making sure everybody gets on the bus with you. You can't just dictate this is the way it's going to be, but you do have to have some imperatives to your teams that are like, this is how technology is moving. And it's not and if, we are doing this. And we want you to learn in a way that is welcoming of this technology, because it's going to continue increasing. Your day-to-day functions that you do will continue being used by AI. And we're going to work together so that you're comfortable with it. But it's got to be spoken and delivered in a way where the employee feels they're brought along with it. They're brought along with the learning as well.
Okay. Let's move a little bit back to your other work, your coaching business. Working mothers, they navigate career transitions. They're often told to choose between breaking through or burning out.
Yep.
As a mother of teenage twins who just launched their business, what proactive practices are you putting in place right now to protect sustainable balance? And what do you recommend to women who want to make a similar leap, but they just don't know where to start?
So Kirsten, I like to say all the time, I say it to my team, I say it to my family, choose your hard. Choose your hard. Is it hard to get up at 3:45 in the morning to get everything I need to done before I wake the kids up at 5:45? Yep, it's hard. It's hard. Do I need to? For me, I do. For my routine, I do. For the strength training and the rucking that I do, to sit quietly and have a cup of coffee and not run it down and chase my vitamins and then go up and get the kids. That's the routine that works best for me, is to have time in the morning to do my devotions, to be with the Lord, to do my workout, to get that done, to wake up the kids. And I am refreshed and running at 150% octane level, just feeling like I can get my day, versus getting out of bed, pressing the snooze button, not feeling good, because I have learned over time, decade after decade, if I wait to get my own self-care, my own exercise later in the day, it doesn't happen. You get invited to a dinner party. You get invited to go do this. Oh, there's a new sporting event that's happening. Mom, I need you here. And before you know it, you're coming in the door at 9:45, 10. So I talk about choose your hard. It's hard to age and not be healthy. It's hard to become a 70-year-old woman and not be able to lift. I heard this analogy once and I loved it. You want to be able to age into your 70s and travel by yourself and pick up your roll bag and put it in the overhead compartment and not need help. And I heard that from a coach and I'm like, well, that's obvious. And he said, you'd be surprised how many people can't at 70. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I travel so much that I don't even notice. I just pick up my bag, I go, and I just figured I'd always. And he goes, that's because now you've put in the work for, so many years. But imagine you take someone like yourself who just decides, I'm going to just not take care of my bones and not worry about osteoporosis and calcium and just not worry about it. And in 20 years, what would that physical, strong body look like? And it's not the same. And so I look at it as choose your heart and investment in myself. It's not so much in my family. Yes, I'm a better version of mom, of Jen for my family, but it's about me. It's about me being able to show and model to them, I'm doing this for my future self, so that you're not having to care for me aging as an adult more rapidly than I need to be. I want to be able to run, loops around my grandkids and play with them and be active and vibrant. And that takes caring for myself now. So yeah, it's hard to go to bed early versus just scroll online mindlessly or turn that show on and watch. But I put some guardrails down. I allow myself that fun time. It can be when I'm walking on a 14% incline on my treadmill. You've got
14.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of walking online. I love it. And that's where I give myself time to scroll and just watch what you want to watch. You want to watch a show? I've got 30 minutes. And I stop it then. Or I'm listening to a podcast, or I've got worship music on. But then I get off, I towel off, I'll do an infrared sauna, I'll get myself ready for the day. That doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody has a home gym and access to that. But what I have found is the more women that stop and put some guardrails down on, I'm going to prioritize myself so I can be my best for my family, are stronger, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. And they're also able to handle whatever comes in the day with more grace for themselves versus being anxious and fidgety and nervous. If something goes wrong in my day, which it happens 1,000 times a day, right? Yeah, you can get frustrated and annoyed, but I'm much more grounded when I care for myself physically and have that release of endorphins. And then I also am balanced enough, to your point about balance, to know that I get to be home right now as I'm transitioning in 2 different projects that I'm leading, but I'm probably going to be back on the road soon. And so I treasure every morning that I can kiss them in the morning and wake them up, because I know that, it's going to flip and I'm going to be back on the road. And so you treasure the moments that you've got more time at home. You treasure the times that you can have a slower evening routine because you're not packed, going from dinner to dinner and a flight. So you just take those things that happen in waves of flow and balance, and you're just living a life of gratitude for where you are at that moment. And I think for working moms or women that are considering going back into the workplace, what may feel daunting, if they take a step back and go, how can I model my day that allows me to prioritize the values that are important to me, my family, my spiritual health, my physical health, my mental health? What are you reading that is pouring into your mind and expanding you? It can all be done. I like to say women can have it all. They just can't have it all at the same time. Okay. Homemade meals for your family is really important. Terrific. I'm a big fan of crock pots. It's not always going to be a homemade meal, but if you want to, don't expect gourmet from mommy during the week. Let your family know a couple basics. I like to have a saying on Sundays, because my family, we like to Sabbath on Sundays. No work. We just rest. We go to church and hang out, watch football. And so I like to say the kitchen, it's open kitchen. You can cook whatever you want. I'll pre-buy the food the day before, but mama doesn't cook. Just because I need that day to reset. Now I'll prepare some things on Sunday night for the week ahead, but open kitchen. You guys can all come in and cook whatever you want, but that just allows the family also opportunity and place to rise to the occasion. They can make lasagna, they can scramble eggs, but you're teaching and equipping them to be able to do that.
I love that. So choose your hard.
Yep, choose your hard.
Choose your hard. And now I've already forgotten. There you go. 50-year-old. Can't remember what you said.
The suitcase. You want to be able to be 70 years old and get on that flight and put your bag in the overhead compartment. No problem. You don't want to have to ask. It's not about not asking for help. It's that is a functional movement you should be able to do on your own. So things like, your kids are riding their bikes or they're hanging out, do farmer carries in your driveway. Farmer carries are getting when you get 2 really big weights and you just walk around, that's holding your grip. So it doesn't have to be so difficult and intimidating physical exercise with being a working mom, with having passions that you love. Like, who said you can't go volunteer and serve and make a difference, love on your family, and have a thriving job? It just may not all be possible for you in that same day. It may look different, but it is possible. Yeah,
like you said, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once.
That's correct. Different seasons for different things.
I love that. Now, you talked about this a bit, but your faith is the foundation of your leadership.
Yes.
And you're entering a season where the outcomes are no longer guaranteed by a corporate structure. For listeners who are standing at their own pivot, what does it mean to you to meet the moment with confidence, clarity, and courage?
I love that you ended that sentence with courage, because I turned 50 last week. And I think courage, thank you. I think courage is my word for the year. And I say courage because I have experienced this year moments that required immense courageous spirit and self-confidence that even if my plan would not work, I can pivot. And I can pivot because I'm strong, because I'm proven, and I might stumble, but I'm going to make it. And I think courage is not spoken about as much. I believe that in corporate America, people, for the most part, don't talk about faith. And there's nothing more grounding than being able to know that who I work for and what I do is really who I serve is God and the gift of life that he's given me. And so when I look at it as, yes, I might have a boss in a company, but my work, like in the book of Colossians, it says, work as if for the Lord. Work hard for the Lord. And so I always like to say to people, your job is your job. It's where you get a paycheck, but your calling, what the Lord put in your heart to go do, like, look at you, Kirsten. You not only help people in placing talent in wonderful positions, but the Lord has called you to be able to connect people. Look at what you're doing in this wonderful podcast. You're taking people that you might meet at an alumni dinner and go, guess what? That story needs to be told. And you create a platform for that. That probably wasn't written in your business plan when you came up with your original concept for your business.
No.
But the Lord put it on your heart, and you have a calling. And that's, I like to differentiate calling from my job. Your job is where you go and you get a paycheck if you're blessed to have that job. Your calling is what makes you get out of bed, and you're meant to do that. That is your given gift in this world. It is placed on your heart, and you actually enjoy it. Now, of course, there's people in factories that go and make widgets and they do something, and that is their calling for that season, but their calling is probably way more than that. They may be a grandmother or a father. Like, you have different roles in your life. So I like to talk about faith in the workplace, all in the right season and right time, because I feel like that grounds people. Things are going to happen that you aren't expecting. Layoffs, there's no, all the people at Oracle, the 30,000 people that got let go a few weeks ago, did not expect that in 2026. That was not in their plan, right? To wake up in the morning and get an email. And even in my case, I knew my company was going to be bought, but I didn't know when that would occur. I didn't know how fast it would happen. And it happened to me in 7 minutes. And so you hear about, like, you can't prepare for something like that. There's no playbook on, so here's what's going to happen when you don't have your job anymore and what it looks like. All that you have is what is inside of you. Your grit, your ability to say, my job does not define me, my title. It doesn't matter if I'm chief, whatever officer, executive vice president, or if I'm the mailman. Your job does not define you. What defines you is who you are. You are someone's daughter. You are someone's wife. You are someone's mother. You are someone's friend and sister. And you have a purpose that is far more than what your job description is.
100%. I feel like I need to do an offering now or a call to like I feel convicted.
Well, I just think it's important that we talk about it so that we can be difference makers for other people. So that when we have a colleague or a friend, I've noticed on LinkedIn lately, there are some people that will post messages of, listen, if you have been affected by a RIF or a layoff and you need anything, reach out to me. And I've loved seeing that element of humanity that extends themselves and says, I'm here. We need to do that more often, Kirsten. We need to do that all the time. People shouldn't wonder, I wonder if Jen would help me. You are in that situation. You should absolutely know. Jen Malhotra, Kirsten, they will help you. I'm going to park sometime, but guess what? if you've not invested in that relationship, how hard is it to ask for help?
Very.
Very. And you feel like, who am I to ask for help? If you've invested in relationships, then it's okay to say, listen, this just happened and I'm pivoting. This is what I'm thinking of doing. Would you mind spending some time with me? I'd love to run this by you. And in fact, before I relaunched, because I had already had my business Mighty Waves, but I had kind of parked that as a passion project while I was in corporate America. When I decided to relaunch it, I kind of went to my board of directors, my own personal board of directors, to vet my ideas. I said, listen, I'm considering 2 different projects fractionally. What do you think? Here's the pros and cons of each. This is the risk reward. This is that. And I laid it out, and I wanted each of their opinions because they were each wildly successful in their crafts and what they were doing. And I knew that they would have my best interest at heart. Did I feel it was a bold move? 100%. Did I feel like I was asking too much of them? Not at all. Because guess what? I know they want the best interest for me and my family. And so they'll take the time to review a prospectus, to review a business plan, to ask me some of those hard questions. Well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? So have those board of director people in your life that you know will help you, but you've got to take the time to invest in them as well.
I like that. I like that personal board of directors. I've heard a few other people refer to that. I feel like I need to assign mine. I know I have one. I need to assign them.
Yep. And actually in the faith world, we call it deputizing. When you deputize a family friend, a colleague, a business acquaintance, meaning I'm going to give you those rights. I'm going to give you those rights that you can call out my junk when you see it. Or if I'm stepping over myself, making something more difficult than it needs to be, I'm literally giving you permission to call me on it because I know you've got my best interest. You don't deputize everybody in your life. That's impossible. No. You should have a handful only of qualified people that care enough about you, whose filter of advice that they pass through when they give you is one thing only, your best, because they want to see you succeed.
I love that. Okay, it's time for the rapid fire. Okay, who's a well-known or lesser-known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
My dear friend, he's a modern person, but he's a motivational speaker, but I have known him for 21 years and he's incredible. John Gordon.
Okay.
John Gordon, he's amazing, has written so many wonderful books. His first one was The Energy Bus, and he motivates and challenges people to succeed and be their best selves, and I adore him.
Excuse me. What is the best piece of career advice you've received that you would give to your early career self?
I wish I would have been more gentle on myself. I wish I would have been more gentle on myself. I put a lot of performance pressure to succeed, to be successful, to care for my family. And I wish I would have been more gentle. It's okay to take a back seat sometimes. And I did not think that. I thought as a woman with my MBA ready to hit it all, like I just had to continue growing. And I look back and I wish I would have made some different changes and maybe taken that step back.
I love it. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
Not What You Expected.
I love that.
Not what you expected.
I was blessed. What you expected.
I was blessed to take a 10-year career break before the twins were born. And that was not in my cards. That was not what I was planning. I was planning to take a little bit of time off and then cared for aging parents. And that's another topic we didn't talk about, but that sandwich generation that a lot of us are in, caring for elderly parents. And then also too, caring for our younger kids. And you're in the middle, still growing yourself. But I'm so thankful I got to take that time off, but it's not what I expected. And when I went back in the marketplace, the market does not respect that. The market very much thinks, oh, then you must have been eating bonbons and playing tennis or doing PTA meetings. That's all that you did on your time off. And so I had to work really hard to define what that was and what being a patient advocate was and helping nonprofits. And I did not just not do anything, and I refused for that to actually be a dash on my resume. That decade was not useless. That decade was not just raising kids. That decade was holy ground. That decade was formative, and I needed it to say something. So that's why I would call it not what I had expected.
Not what I expected. And anybody that is like down in the PTA, that is a gang, first of all. The PTA is serious business.
It is. You can learn you can refine some negotiation skills really well in that. And all the fundraising that goes on. You're constantly having to ask for more money. Yeah.
You can be a nonprofit leader straight from the PTA.
That's right. That's right.
What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
I love Wonder Woman.
There was a HR podcast, shout out to Ann and Wendy, that used to be called HR Wonder Women. So,
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
I have a couple different playlists on Spotify that I'll just put on depending on like what I want. I love music in the background. Okay. When I'm working, I'll put on some, like if I'm in what we call a flow state, which is when like you're cranking on a work deliverable, I make a point to like minimize all my screens and work just on that thing. And I love having not classical music, but there's different things you can find on YouTube for work music in the background. Mm-hmm. And I love doing that. But when I need to like get pumped up about something, it's typically when I'm working out. It's not right before a presentation. Like that sounds good to say that I'm going to put Eye of the Tiger right before a presentation. You don't really think of doing that, right? But I think of doing it in the morning when I'm working out. Like I'm just going to get into that zone of confidence and strength. That's typically when I do it.
Okay. Whew. What is your favorite empowering quote? I almost said it right that time.
Do ordinary things with extraordinary love, Mother Teresa.
Oh, that's beautiful.
If I were to die tomorrow, that's what I would want people to say at my funeral. She did ordinary things with extraordinary love.
I love that. Okay, so what's one thing you want folks to take away from our conversation?
I would like to dispel the intimidation that can be right now AI, especially for women in the workplace that are not eating, breathing this every single day. If you work for a tech company, you are eating, breathing, living this every single day. If you are not, it can feel very intimidating. And it can feel like, where do I even learn? How do I? There's so many ways. You just need to ask and you need to create the time to learn. And it's critical because our kids are learning it. Our kids are going to be in the workplace in a different place. So dispelling the myth that it can be intimidating, I think is important.
Okay. I love that. And before I let you go, are there any projects or initiatives you want to shout out? And if you want folks to get in touch with you, reach out to you, please drop your social media, your website, or anything you want to offer.
Thank you. Yeah, I really love this company that I'm lending some advisory support to right now. It's called 5 to Flow. And like I said, that what they're doing right now in workplace well-being is just exceptional, and to prevent employee burnout. And I love the people. It's been really, really fun. I'm enjoying that work. It's definitely radically different than enabling and equipping sales teams in the high-tech space, but I'm still doing the same function there with them and loving it. So check them out. They're 5 to Flow, and they're just incredible.
All right. Well, thank you again for lending your time to us. Thank all of you for tuning in, and please come back for another dynamic episode of Trap Chat, Meeting the Moment, Embracing and Navigating Pivots, Part 2. All right. See you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.